Did you know that you can actually use embroidery designs and convert them using Pro Stitcher Designer or Art and Stitch to any of the long arm formats and use those designs on your long arm? I do this quite frequently, especially when I'm doing custom quilting, but with very little editing, I'm also able to take an existing embroidery design and use it as on my long arm. I'm going to jump on here and show you how I do that. I'm going to start with how I find a design and then how I actually bring it into Pro Stitcher and save it. So let me share my screen, and I'm going to start with here. If you look at my screen, you'll see that I'm currently at the OESD site. They have OESD actually has an entire site of long arm designs. I'm not speaking of that. I am speaking of traditional embroidery formats. I have a brother, baby lock, brother and a baby lock embroidery machine. That's PES formats, but any of the embroidery formats this will work with. So if I come in here, you'll see that they actually have some long arm quilting designs. But when you go over here and look at them, here they are, and here's all of the designs they have, and that's great. I love the fact that they're starting to get into actually doing long arming designs. But what happens if I come over here and I have an embroidery design that I actually want to use? We probably all have a lot of designs already that we can pull from. Disney has some expired trademarks. So if I come in here and I search on OESD for Disney, the really old Steamboat Willie, as well as some of the old Winnie the Pooh, are now no longer copyrighted. So digitizers can start using those. But this says it's a long arm design, or it's a quilting design. Not long arm, it says it's a quilting design. That means if I select one, that it is actually coming in embroidery formats. They're not coming in the traditional formats that you would need for a long arm machine. These are usually used as backdrops when you're using your actual embroidery machine to do quilting on your embroidery machine. But what if I want to use one of these really cool designs on my long arm? Very easily, you can go in and purchase any or all of the designs in the set. There's some Winnie the Pooh that the copyright's expired on, and I can purchase it and download it. Now I'm going to share Designer, Pro Stitcher Designer. The same thing happens in Art and Stitch. So if you have Art and Stitch, the same thing applies there. I have both of them. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to show you a Designer. But I'm going to go in here and I'm going to now share my Designer screen, and I'm going to show you how I import this in, and then I'm able to save it as a long arm format. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to go into Designer. So I'm now in Designer. So all I have to do, Designer will read any of the embroidery file formats. So I can come in here and I can say open. And if you notice over here, I'm going to go to my downloads because I downloaded it just like I would have traditionally. And you will see that I have on here the Mickey Mouse and the Winnie the Pooh designs. So if I go in here and I select any one of these designs, let's just start with, because I'm most used to the PES designs, I'll start with that. I now have the embroidery file for this design. It is still in the embroidery format. The first thing that I would do is I will come over here and I will rotate this and I will make it horizontal, because that's how visually I see things. You'll see over here, I'm going to move that out of the way. You'll see over here in my sequence files that this is actually digitized in sections. So I can use this as an individual design in a block, or I can actually easily convert this to make it an edge to edge. We all know that for it to be an edge to edge, I need my start point, which is right here, and my end point, which is going to be right here on the same plane. So what I would probably do, which is really easy to do, is the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to right click on my mouse, and I'm going to say convert to artwork, because I want to do a little bit of editing to get this start point. And I am going to utilize the grids that are in my background. I want to move this start point up to here and this end point down to here. The easiest way that I can show you how to do that is I'm first going to come in here and I am going to just select the first section. That's where the start point is. So when I select my shape tool, you'll see that I have all of my nodes in here, whether they be lines or whether they be cusps, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take my start point here and I'm going to select it, and I'm going to be using that grid, and I'm going to move it up here so that it starts on that line. And then I'm going to come through here, and I don't have many points, so I'm just going to probably do them all manually. I select them and hit the delete key on my keyboard. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to zoom in and make sure that my start point is up on that line. Now I'm going to come back out, and now I have my start point adjusted. I'm going to now use my zoom feature again, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at this side. I'm going to do the exact same thing again. I'm going to come over here and click the last section of my artwork. I'm going to come over here and change this and move it down here, because I'm trying to get this on the same plane so I can make this an edge to edge. And then I'm going to come through here, and again, I'm going to start removing all of these nodes so that I can quickly and easily line this up. Now that I have all that done, right click, and you'll see that that part of the line disappears. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to move my endpoint to make sure that it's on that same plane. And now, when I zoom out, I have now quickly and easily edited this design so that I can hook it up, attach it one after the other, and make this now an edge-to-edge design on my long arm. This is going to be perfect for those baby quilts or those ones that you just want to put nostalgia on and have some of these old designs. But you can do this with any embroidery design. I'm showing you this on this design only because I think these Mickey and old Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh designs are classics and you'll get a lot of use on them. But think outside the box. Think of any of these embroidery designs that you actually have. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select everything that I have in here. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to modify, and I'm going to group these. I just like to group things to make them all look the same. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to convert these to stitches. So when I convert them to stitches, you'll see instead of it saying artwork here, it now says run. Now all I have to do is come over here and say File, Save As. And what I do at this point is I find on my desktop, all of my Pro Stitcher designs are in the root folder of C Designs. This is where Pro Stitcher stores them. This file format should look very familiar to those of you that do this often. And I have a folder out here that I use that's labeled _WIP. That stands for work in progress. Those are things I'm actively working on. So if I come in here and I open that folder, I come out here, I can save this as Mickey. And then come in here in whichever format that I want to save this in, depending on whatever Longarm machine I have, I can come in here and I'm going to save this as a vector file. I have a Handi quilter, so I like to work in vector files. So then I can come in here and I can say save. Now I have this as a long arm file, and I can take this into my Pro Stitcher and I can do whatever I want in there. There is something that I do want to show, because this is to show you how quickly and easily you can do this. There is a little bit of cleanup things that you could do in here if you wanted to get into some more advanced Pro Stitcher features. I don't want you guys have to know Designer inside and out. I want you to be able to use it quickly and easily. So I'm stop sharing here, and I'm going to pull this into Pro Stitcher and show you how quickly I can set this design up in there. And as you can see, I've got a blank screen. And if I go in here and I open up my work in progress folder, you'll see that right here is my Mickey design. I'm going to open it up, and here they are, all ready to use in Pro Stitcher. Now, you do have a little issue here where you've got this little green and red start and end points. This is where your segments within Designer started and ended. That's not an issue. I'm not going to worry about that, because in order to make sure that this stitches continuously, all I do is I come into my settings, and where it has auto jump, this is a feature where it will not stop stitching and just jump from one stop point, the red dot, to the next green dot and keep right on stitching. So if I want to get around that, I just come in here, make sure my auto jump is set to something above 0, because that's just actually just the length of a little stitch. So if I got it set to 6 inches, I'm good. It's just going to keep stitching. Then I'm going to come here and I'm going to make sure that my tie-offs are off. I don't want it to knot at every one of these start and end points. I just want it to keep stitching. That's all set up. So now when I come into modify, I can resize it. I can do any of the things that I traditionally would do with a design, but now I can come in and repeat it. And I can now set this up as an edge to edge. I can do vertical repeats. I can come in here and I can wrap it. I can do a half a row wrap. I can start nesting this. I can start treating this as if it's a traditional edge to edge design. And when I come in here and stitch this out, I've taken an embroidery design, very little editing knowledge, and I've now made this an edge to edge. I hope you guys can find that helpful and that you actually start utilizing some of your embroidery designs. You can pull in a block and make a block design from any of those beautiful designs that you guys have in your embroidery library. Utilize those, make the most of them. We paid a lot of money for those items. Let's make the most of them. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's inspired you to start looking outside the box when you start looking for quilting designs, and start thinking of using some of those embroidery designs. If you want to continue to be updated on tips and tricks on Pro Stitcher or any other quilting related items, please like and follow this and subscribe to the channel so that you will be notified whenever I post something. Thanks.